In Season 1 of Reacher, former military policeman Jack Reacher visits the small town of Margrave, Georgia, where he is mistakenly arrested for a double murder. Reacher is exonerated when a local man named Paul Hubble confesses to the crime, but Reacher learns that Paul only confessed to protect a violent criminal organization that threatened the lives of his family. Upon Reacher's release, he becomes committed to solving the murders after discovering that one of the victims is his older brother Joe. In Reacher's investigation, he teams up with Margrave detectives Oscar Finlay and Roscoe Conklin and medical examiner Jasper. When Paul Hubble is released from prison, he immediately goes missing, leading to Finlay having his FBI friend Picard to place Paul's family under his protection. When Margrave's police chief Ed Morrison and his wife are brutally murdered, the town's corrupt mayor Grover Teal takes over as the new chief and pressures Finlay into not looking too closely into the new series of murders. Reacher and his new allies discover that Joe was in Margrave to help the Secret Service investigate reports of a large-scale counterfeiting operation. Reacher discovers that the other murder victim, a truck driver named Pete Joblin, helped transport the counterfeit money for the powerful and corrupt businessman Mr. Kleiner. Kleiner's operation created counterfeit bills in Margrave and supplied them to villainous international syndicates. Despite uncovering Kleiner's illegal plot, Reacher has no evidence tying him to the recent string of murders. As Reacher's team uncover more and more secrets about Kleiner's schemes, they are forced to deal with pursuing mercenaries, Kleiner's antagonistic son KJ, and the corrupt mayor and newly minted police chief Teal. Along the way, Reacher and Roscoe grow closer together and develop romantic feelings for each other, while Reacher and Finlay develop a friendship, with Finlay revealing that he moved to Margrave to escape the grief caused by the death of his wife. When Joe's colleague Molly Beth arrives in Margrave to give Reacher files on Joe's investigation, she is murdered and the files are stolen. When Finlay breaks into Kleiner's office to search for incriminating evidence, he is shocked to discover that Kleiner too has been murdered, seemingly for failing to deliver counterfeit bills to his impatient business partners in Venezuela. Meanwhile, the corrupt Mayor Teal has both Roscoe and Finlay fired from the police department as they draw closer to uncovering the truth. Roscoe joins Picard to protect the Hubble family from potential murderous mercenaries, while Finlay continues aiding Reacher in taking down the counterfeiting operation and its mysterious true leader. As the season comes to a close, Reacher and Finlay discover that Agent Picard has betrayed them and has been secretly working alongside the Kleiner family and Mayor Teal. The psychotic KJ then reveals himself to have murdered Joe, Jobling, Sheriff Morrison, Molly Beth, his own father, and countless others for jeopardizing his family's lucrative counterfeiting business. And now he has captured Roscoe and the Hubble family, threatening to kill them all if Reacher doesn't bring him the missing Paul Hubble, a former employee for Kleiner who betrayed the villainous family to help Joe take them down. Reacher finds Paul Hubble and teams up with him, Finlay, and an old military police ally named Neagley to storm KJ's warehouse, save Roscoe and the Hubble family, and bring down the counterfeiting operation once and for all. In the assault, Finlay kills his backstabbing friend Picard, Roscoe kills Margrave's corrupt Mayor Teal, and Reacher kills KJ while burning his entire business to the ground. In the end, Finlay leaves Margrave, finally gaining closure from his wife's death. Roscoe resolves to restore Margrave to its former glory, considering a bid for the town's newly empty mayor seat. And the loner Jack Reacher departs, having solved his brother's murder and on the lookout for his next case. Season 2 begins with one of Reacher's old teammates from the 110th Special Investigations Unit, Calvin Franz, being thrown from a helicopter to his death. When Reacher discovers the news of his fallen friend, he teams back up with other former members of the Special Investigators team, including Francis Neagley, David O'Donnell, and Carla Dixon, to avenge Franz and uncover the motives behind his murder. Their only lead is a flash drive left behind by Franz containing a list of aliases for a mysterious figure known only as AM. Unfortunately, Reacher and his allies soon discover that all of the other members of their old unit have been similarly killed, all except for Tony Swan, who is now an employee of a company called New Age Technologies. After investigating New Age, Reacher meets the company's head of security, Shane Langston, who denies any culpability in the deaths of the special investigators and places all of the blame on a rogue employee named Trevor. When Reacher and his allies confront Trevor, they realize that they they have been led into a trap. Thankfully, Reacher's unit are all highly skilled soldiers who kill off all of the New Age mercenaries that Langston had sent for them. More determined than ever to avenge their fallen teammates and bring down New Age, Reacher calls in the help of his old friend Oscar Finlay. Finlay helps discover that New Age has a government defense contract authorized by Senator Malcolm Lavoie, codenamed Little Wing. The Little Wing project has developed missiles with the ability to always hit their targets, but instead of giving them all to the US military, New Age are secretly plotting to sell hundreds of them to the mysterious AM and his terrorist contacts. Langston attempts to bribe Reacher to drop the investigation, but Reacher refuses, swearing to obtain vengeance by kicking Langston out of a helicopter the same way he killed Calvin Franz. To aid in his mission, Reacher strong-arms Senator Lavoie into sanctioning his security team to join the fight against New Age in order to prevent the scandal of his inadvertent arming of terrorists being made public. Meanwhile, NYPD detective Guy Russo is also investigating Calvin Franz's death. Russo informs Reacher that he has identified a suspect named Azari Mahmood, aka the mysterious AM. Russo also explains that Langston and his security team at New Age are all former corrupt NYPD detectives that Russo has a bad history with and wants to bring to justice. When hitmen try to kill the remaining members of the Special Investigations Unit at Franz's funeral, Reacher and Russo manage to apprehend one, who confesses that Tony Swan was responsible for ordering the hits on the entire team. This revelation devastates Reacher and his allies, who can't fathom that their own former teammate would so villainously betray them all. Amidst this chaos, Reacher grows closer to Dixon, leading to the two beginning a romantic relationship. Eventually, Reacher's team meet the remorseful New Age Director of Operations Marlo Burns, who upon learning of her company's alliance with terrorists, tried to resist their villainous schemes. In turn, Langston threatened the life of Marlo and her daughter Jane, prompting them to go into hiding. Hoping to bring this treachery to an end once and for all, Reacher and his team use Marlo as bait to lure Langston and his mercenaries into a trap. Reacher and his unit successfully kill all of the mercenaries, though Langston manages to escape. Meanwhile, Detective Russo and Jane are attacked by hitmen, and Russo sacrifices himself to protect the child. Everyone is devastated by this loss, prompting them to send Marlo and Jane away to safety. As a vengeful Reacher tracks down and kills the hitmen who murdered Russo, Langston's remaining forces capture Dixon and O'Donnell. Desperate and angry, Reacher chooses to surrender himself at the New Age headquarters in the hopes of saving his friends. There, he learns that Tony Swan had actually never taken part in the Little Wing terrorist plot, but instead tried to expose the corruption and shut it all down. In turn, Swan was murdered and framed as the mastermind behind the plot, and the rest of the members of the Special Investigations Unit became targets to ensure they couldn't take up Swan's noble cause. Upon obtaining this revelation, Reacher is rescued by Neagley, who leads a raid on the New Age headquarters, aided by Senator Lavoie's security forces. Reacher then saves Dixon and O'Donnell and achieves his long-awaited and poetic revenge by kicking Langston from his own helicopter and sending him plummeting to his death. As the season comes to a close, Lavoie authorizes his security team to kill Reacher and his allies, wanting to tie up loose ends and remove anyone with knowledge of his accidental connection to selling missiles to terrorists. Thankfully, Reacher had anticipated this betrayal and alerted Homeland Security to Lavoie's villainous actions, resulting in the senator's arrest. Reacher and his unit then track down and kill AM, stealing the $65 million he had received in anticipation of selling the missiles to the terrorists. That money is divided up between Reacher, Neagley, Dixon, O'Donnell, and the families of their fallen allies. In the end, Reacher parts ways with his team once again, returning to his solitary life on the road and the promise of another great adventure.